and welcome back to part 2 of the show. It was more blunderful from John than usual, but highly entertaining at least, or at least I thought it was. But we're going to try and go back to winning ways in part 2 of tonight's show, and just hit the road with some more 3-minute chess. So I'm going to be doing all of my usual things, like keeping the queens on the board. I'm going to ditch the castling opposite sides because I've been asked to try a few other things. First one that I'm going to try and aim, it's probably going to take more than one game, but been asked to try and sacrifice 4 pawns. Someone else said, can I sacrifice 9 pawns, but I can tell you right now that's not going to be possible. Not unless I can start sacrificing some of John's as well, and I think he might have given up on chess for the night.
Forever!
Don't worry, he will be back for the next show. The next show, which will actually be in 3 weeks' time rather than the usual 2. As you can see from our next show thing, it's 19th of March. But we will have consecutive shows in that case on the 19th and the 26th of March. So don't worry, there will be a slightly longer wait, but then there'll be a shorter wait, and you'll still be getting your regularly scheduled 2 shows a month. Looks like my opponent has reappeared. Just waiting for him to play a move. A move would be really useful around about now. I think we are going to carry on with this spirited knight a6. And my opponent says, hey and good luck. I'm going to say, good luck, have fun. And see, I think John was making a mistake when he was going b6, because it undefends this knight on a6. And that did lead to some severe consequences in one of his games, where I don't know if you noticed this, but it got taken off, and not for any noticeable compensation. So we're going to leave the pawn on b7 at home. And that allows the knight to serve its true purpose as supporting the break c7, c5. So what we're really after here, guys, is just a very, very strong Sicilian. In all honesty, this looks like it should be quite a genuinely fantastic opening. And I can't imagine why one wouldn't play this way. Sacrificing pawn number 1 here. Actually, I don't know if this is going to be the game. I sacrificed lots of pawns. I did accidentally exchange one. I think the white pieces are necessary, guys, for me to sacrifice all the pawns in the world. So yeah, that's definitely something we're gonna manage at some point during the show. But we have managed to sacrifice 1 pawn at least. But now if he retreats the bishop back, I can lop off e4. He can go knight c3 here, I suppose. That would be his greedy option. Although I still have e6. My plan after knight c3 is just to castle and wait and see what happens. My opponent is taking his sweet time over this opening. Joe Posthumer is clearly trying very hard to, find the niggles and find all of the nuances that allow white to keep an advantage after 1 knight a6, but in all honesty, I'm not sure what they could possibly be. Ooh, that might not be the pawn that we want to give away. Not convinced by my compensation here, guys. Whose idea was all this manoeuvring around with knights anyway? Must have been John's. Okay, so we're going to bring the knight back into civilization. Knight c7. Get that bishop to go away, and then we're going to pin this knight with bishop g4. Pinning, you pin to win, or to vaguely eventually make some positional concessions, or one of those. That's a slightly less memorable phrase. I pin because it slightly ties down my opponent's pieces, and it puts him in a slight positional bind, and then hopefully I win his entire army. He allowed us to open up a rook's file. I always like it when I can develop my pieces by not moving them. That's why moves like h5 and h4 are such strong moves, because you've got a rook on h8 and you've just developed a piece and you've not even moved it. And I'm trying to cunningly allow my opponent to go g4 and trap my piece, but then knight takes g4 will follow, h takes, bishop takes, and then we really will be pinning to win. However, my plan was not all that subtle and my opponent noticed. So we're going to run away with our king. And now he actually might be able to get away with this plan. But instead he plays the rather strong knight g5, which makes me think... It makes me think lots of things that I shouldn't say, but it also makes me think, why didn't I take that knight on f3 while I had the chance? Now, this is usually the stage where we go on a massive swindle, but... well, I see my opponent's down to only 36 seconds, but I don't really have a good answer to queen takes e6. And what do you do when you don't have a good answer to queen takes e6? You come up with a bad answer and you play it quickly. So that is what we will do. This is really the practical guide to playing bad blitz chess. Look, we got caught. None of our moves so far have made any sense. But look at the amount of time we have. Oops, the queens came off the board. That's fine. Is he expecting b5? No, he's not. Oh, he played that quickly. That was a good move. But look at as we blitz these fantastic moves out onto the board. You know, he's possibly trapping this bishop at some moment in the vague future. Knight in. Looks like my opponent is familiar with at least one or two of my tricks. I'm actually gonna just lose this. Right, now we have to slow down and cunningly find a trick. This is going to have to do as the trick. We got mated. We got mated. That kind of serves us right. For all of those back. Why didn't we take that knight off? So much for practical chess, guys. Alright. Go hard or go home. Alright. Well, yeah, my opponent says good game. I'm going to also say good game. And, yeah, so yeah, go hard and go home. It seems that putting a knight on the side of the board didn't help us. So, we have come up with an improvement. It's called putting two knights on the side of the boards. I feel this is the next level that our opening repertoire really needed. So, now that we have our knights on the side, we can centralise pawns. And look at all these juicy squares that suddenly open themselves up. It's beautiful to watch, actually. In fact, during the break, I got some tweets from Kramnik asking me to send some analysis on this repertoire, and I actually said I couldn't, and we'd have to meet up sometime, and I'd exchange my Knights on the Rim analysis for some of his Berlin analysis. So that's going to take place at some point during the summer, I'm hoping. Because who wouldn't want to have this position after 5 moves with black? It's like an advanced French, but I have 2 knights out, and I have 2 knights out, and my bishop on c1 is an amazing piece. So, and it's even more amazing now that it's on d2, and my opponent is vaguely feeling he's got to force the exchange of queens, but we're not going to allow that. Our knight, having provoked his pieces to bad squares like b4 and a5, feels its job is done and retreats back to b1 in order to keep the queens on the board. My opponent is attempting to play some kind of positional masterpiece here, and to be honest, he's doing quite a good job. But that's fine, because no pieces can land on g3 here, right? No pieces can land on g3. I'm slightly worried about the line that goes knight d3, bishop d6. But what could possibly go wrong in this position? We can simply move the queen. It's fine. It's fine. We're even a pawn up. I mean, can't you tell by my position just how fine it is? I always feel that if you say something lots and lots of times, that shows that you passionately believe it and that you're not trying to convince yourself of it. And look, he's just taken on d2. Look at the fineness of my position. I might even castle. My position is that good. Probably queenside, just because I'm struggling to develop some pieces. And okay, he kind of regains the pawn. But did he see this move b2 to b4? That is a question. It's not a good question, but it's a question. And look, we've developed both of our rooks, and we've not even moved them. It's next level stuff, guys. Think about it. And queens do disappointingly come off the board, but with all of our other positional trumps in this position, even my opponent realises what a fantastic move knight to the edge of the board is. But does he know what a good move sacrificing a rook in order to weaken your opponent's pawn structure is? I'm not sure. I'm actually genuinely of an opinion that that rook takes a6 move isn't bad. That's actually one of the reasons that I played it. Look, I mean, look at his pawn structure here. I actually think this might work. Look, I'm just going to take all of your pawns. And then it's going to be 1-1. And then what are we going to do? We're going to play a decider. And a decider is like my favourite type of game because I always win them. I mean, you know, at least 4 times out of 10. Absolutely always. See, I could take that pawn off straight away, but the important thing is to just push some pawns. We could take this pawn off again, but we just push some pawns. There was no rush. Our position is... I mean, it's been artistically put together. In fact, you know, rooks are overrated. We're just going to put it out there and say rooks are overrated, and look at these pawns that we suddenly have flooding down the board. They say 2 passed pawns on the 6th rank beat a rook. So does that mean I can go d6 here? No, it doesn't. That's an interesting thing that people sometimes become confused by. It means that sometimes in some positions, but in all positions, this position is good. I might bring my king in. I might not, but I might. Let's just play this nice and positionally, because the important thing is not to rush a position that's as awesome as this. Well, we have too many moves that win here. We should play one of them at least. And we cunningly go... Where do we go cunningly? King there, rook... No, that's not it. Oh, that is cunning. I think this wins. I could end up regretting it. So I couldn't go c7 that last go, but this was the position I was envisioning. And c7 isn't a threat. But we're fine, because he's got no good move here. And takes, and we have messed this up. How do we mess this one up, guys? This was a beautiful game. You know, this was, you know, Holland at its best kind of thing. I'm not convinced by everything that's gone on here. Ah, why did I give that pawn away? I accidentally won on time. The important thing was that we did everything right and then we somehow didn't win. Can we just go... We're just going to say 1 sec to my opponent. Just going back. Because the other move that was quite good here was King E1. And then the point is if takes, then just C7 wins. But I wasn't sure what to play against that. But I just play here. Anyway, we're going to go rematch. Oh, you know what? I think I'm just going to play 5 games. I don't know. Let's see how many challenges we're getting. Okay, we're getting quite a lot of challenges. So yeah, we will fit in another game after this. Another mini-series. Yep. Alright. Well, 2 knights on the rim. Appear to be the pinnacle of this opening repertoire. Okay. So, seems to be under control so far. And then we take. And we play e6. Because it's important we play defensive moves as well. My opponent keeps playing really sensible moves. But there's not an awful lot we can do about that. But, it's almost tricky to see where our mating follow-up is coming from. But I am sure it is only a pawn break away. You're always only a pawn break away from having counterplay. That's a semi-serious rule in actual fact. If you have a terrible position and you have no good squares for any of your pieces, look at the position and say, what pawn break would help me in this position? And if the answer is, I don't have a pawn break, then resign. Resign straight away and go do something else. But if the answer is, oh, I have this pawn break, and that might make some sense, then absolutely you have to play it at the fastest opportunity. Unfortunately, I've lost too many pawns, so my only pawn break is f5, and that's awful. So we could just resign, but because this is a decider and I'm up in the clock and it's 3-minute chess, and I don't feel like it, and I've got the 2 bishops, I'm going to carry on playing. Okay. Anyway, the 2 bishops are really good. Alright. I kind of want to threaten mate here. I mean, it's not really mate, but it's essentially mate. Everyone knows if you take on f2 with check, it's basically mate. And the point is, if castle's queenside, we can go knight at g4. So, I don't know, what would be good moves for white here? Well, g3 is a move. It's definitely quite legal. I was looking at queen takes e4 for some moments, but it seemed to be more defended than I wanted it to be. So I retreated the queen. Probably queen h3 made more sense. Actually, queen h3 made less sense because knight f4 was good. But, okay, now he plays that move. Well, we're still going to go here. And what we're going to do is we're going to push the h-pawn down the board and we're going to deliver checkmate again. But first we're going to go e5 because it's just a damn good move. It's a very, very good move. Bishop goes back to d2, we take here, and we have all kinds of fun. He can do that. I'm just going to defend the knight. Why would I even worry about that? Just going to look after my pieces. I see no reason to rush this. This is the decider after all, and my opponent is down to a mere 40 seconds on the clock. I mean, I really think he should move the bishop back to e3, but that was probably preferable to when I had bishop takes f1. I do not like white's position here. So, actually, that's quite an inspired attempt by my opponent, but ooh, almost took on f1 with the wrong bishop. I kind of want to do this all with check. Knight takes h2 check, king. Okay, we can't do it all with check. We're just going to enjoy being lots and lots of material up. Yeah, we're going to take that. And we're going to take that. We're going to take all of his pieces. And we're going to castle calmly, because otherwise the queens might come off. Let's give a little check. Let's take off the little rook. All of these little things going on, and I do have a little advantage. And let's bring another rook into the game, because I have more rooks than my opponent, And yeah, we do just have time for one final mini match against Rhinos 0411 1537 from the USA. I'll tell you what, I'm bored of these knight moves to the east side. We're going to controversially centralise our knights, and then they might accidentally end up on the side of the board afterwards. But that it can only be a good thing. My opponent seems to know, ooh, picked up the king, meant to pick up the bishop. That's one reason why I feel that, I saw a discussion on this recently, on why isn't touch move implemented online. It's just because it's far, far too easy to accidentally pick up the wrong piece. It's also quite easy to just drop it on the wrong square, but, you know, by that stage you've got to take some responsibility for your actions. He says, I take full responsibility, for example, for the fact that I'm just pushing pawns in a haphazard way, not even towards my opponent's king. I don't know where my opponent's king's going to be, but my pawns are already going to be there. By the time my opponent's king finds a square, my pawn is already going to be basically there. That is the advantage of just pushing all the pawns. In other news, I think I might have overextended in some places on the board, but you know, we can deal with that. We're pros here. We're pros on hack attack. Not that I have any idea what to play next, but just gonna develop some pieces. So yeah, just a reminder that there's going to be a 3-week break between this show and the next one. So we will be returning on Thursday 19th of March at the usual time of 8 PM UK time, which I believe is 12 PM Pacific Standard Time. But, you know, I could be wrong. You know, casting is overrated. My king isn't safe on the queen side, my king isn't safe on the king side. Why should I go anywhere? It's not really safe in the centre, but, you know, it started the game there, so what are you going to do? So yeah, next show 3 weeks time, and then there'll be a show immediately the week afterwards, so still 2 shows in February. Well, the H-pawn is getting pushed. Not certain this ties into a particularly fantastic plan. But the important thing is we're vaguely... Tell you what, we've moved quite quickly tonight. I mean, we lost one game, but we were even up on the clock there. We just got mated. And no one told me you could lose a game on Chess.com from being mated as well as from losing on time. But the important thing is that now I know. And that means it'll almost certainly never happen again. In other news, my position is a little bit smelly. But the important thing is that we have some pawns near our opponent's king, and we can push them. He thought h3 was stopping me push that pawn. No. It's like a red rag to a bull. Although apparently, I don't know if this is true, but apparently bulls are colourblind, and it's just the, you know, if you wave something in front of its eyes provocatively enough, then it's going to run at you, but I don't know. Perhaps someone can confirm in the chat if that's true or not. I imagine it is true. I read it on the internet somewhere, so that's like gospel. Anyway, I've got a pawn all the way down to h3, and the point of chess is if you get the pawn all the way down to the other end of the board, you give checkmate, and that wins you the game. I might need some extra pieces though. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking bishop to c6, open up this long diagonal, and then h2 checkmate. I mean, it's a good plan, right? Or plan number 2, knight takes g3, queen takes e3, some kind of mate later. Have we disconnected? Hoping we haven't disconnected. No, it's just my move. It's my move. That's what the problem is. I was wondering why my opponent's time wasn't ticking down, guys, and there was a very good reason. I had quite a nice lead on the clock. I just didn't notice him play this move g3. So John got very worried there. He stepped up. He was like, I wonder what the technical issue is. Oh, it's still my move. That's when you know that the show's been going on for its allotted time space. And he accidentally stopped my pawn from pushing. But that's fine. Knight g5. It's all fine. We don't need to do things. Because, like I was saying, I can move quickly and stuff. And it's going to be mate in... We're going to attack the queen first. We can pre-move this check. Ah, he's got a threat. We cover his checks. And we win on time. It was a nice start on f3, I thought. And we were only, 4 or 5 moves away from mate. We were still under control. Alright, last game of the evening. Where we will attempt for at all times to keep an eye on whose move it is. That is the ambition that we show today. Let us see how many pawns we can give up. That's 1 pawn. That's 1 pawn. It's still 1 pawn. It's still just 1 pawn. But, it's fine because we've got 2 pawns on pre. He has to take them eventually. And that's 2 pawns. 2 pawns we've sacrificed. Fantastic. So, come on. I keep leaving pawns on pre. Why will my opponents not take them all? Okay, we're going to attack a knight. Still only 2 pawns, but that's fine. We just need to find ways of continuing our development. That's 3 pawns. How do we develop our knight now? Now c3 would kind of be a sensible square, but we're not a big fan of that. But no, it's time to go h4 and start pushing a little bit further down the board. That's 3 pawns. Look at all the open lines you get, by the way, when you sacrifice pawns. Bishop, bishop, rook, and queen can... It's basically got all the open lines in the world. And I'm just tempting his king to go this way. Then we can go h5, h6. Sacrifice a final pawn. Because I'll tell you what, I should probably recapture on b2. Part of me wants to not recapture. But that part of me always needs to be kept in a box and told to keep, reasonably quiet. Alright, in the meantime, actually what we want is pawn takes b2, bishop c2, pawn takes a1 equals queen, queen h7, mate. Can we all ask Rhinos0411 to politely please play c takes b2 here?
Boo!
It's fine. We're going to undefend the pawn. It's fine, guys. We're going to undefend it. I'm not certain what the solution to the mate is. Oh, have I found the solution to the mate? Oh, yeah. No, I haven't. It's like Gollum talking to himself, except, slightly more indecisive. Yeah, No, I really, really don't know what the mate is. It's something like pawn takes queen g6, bishop g7, make something up. Or pawn takes bishop c2, rook e8, queen h7, king f8, make something up. Unfortunately, what I might be making up is resignations. But the important thing is that my opponent thinks I've done something clever. And because my opponent thinks I've done something clever, he's finding it very difficult to take off that bishop. And that was true right up until the moment that he took the bishop. Now, how can we continue to play clever moves in a way that will hopefully resolve in us mating our opponent. We can play bishop c2, rook e8. We're quite a lot of material. We're going to calmly take some material back. You thought I was sacrificing that bishop for an immediate mate? It was a positional sacrifice. I just wanted to bring the rook on a1 into the game. Bishops are, pretty much the worst pieces in the game. My opponent has the disadvantage here of the two bishops, which are basically blocking the rest of his pieces from getting into the game. Whereas I may have fewer pieces than my opponent, but what we lack in quality and what we lack in quantity, we make up for in having other moves to play. I so want to play that move, putting the queen on pre, but it's been brought to my attention. It's terrible, and I may not play it. So look, my opponent only has one active rook. I have two active rooks. I'm going to swap one of them off, and that can only result in me winning in spectacular fashion. I mean, look at that bishop on c8 and rook on a8. He could basically take those off the board, and his position would probably improve. I really want this game to end in mate, but yeah, opponent's running out of time. The game is basically over here, guys. Because I'm in fact not any material down. And okay, we can win a queen in time. Actually, do we have mate? Oh, we've got mate in 2! Oh, I almost missed mate in 2. It's knight takes f6. Double check. Let's get rid of that. Check from the bishop. Check from the knight. But what's that? He's only got one legal move, king h8. But then the knight comes in into g6. And that's a hack attack. And that, I feel, is a good moment to leave it for tonight.